Hey YouTube, it's Matt with Olympus Reptiles, and we're doing our, I guess it's technically our, we did an introduction into this series, and this will be a live talk on reptile market, ball python specifically. Assuming I did this right. Hey, of course we did. Always wait till somebody shows up because I know I'm actually live, right? But before we get started, and I am actually off today. It's Columbus Day, and the courts were closed, so as I'm changing my position, I had already taken today off. And I just got up back from vacation, so this is kind of a recovery. Just me to sleep, get some shit done I needed to get done, to stay caught up, and then go back to work on Tuesday. So, really cool. But the reason I'm doing a live video today is I didn't plan on doing one in this series this quick. However, something inspired me to do so, and I'm going to show you what that is really quick. So, this is my normal tripod I've been working with. You can see it's a piece of shit. You can see it's busted there, and that spiderwebby looking crap is super glue that tried to fix it. It did not work, meaning I have to use the screw in the back, which is what makes us have to have it like that and try to balance it. And it's, well, it's a piece of shit. Good news is, one of our fans sent us a brand new one. So somebody ordered this one off of Amazon, thanks Wayne, and sent us this new tripod, which is much higher quality than our old one. Has, you know, the similar type of cell phone mount, and it's not broken. Mounts either way, full ball tilt. So, since I got a new tripod mount and I've been bitching and bitching and bitching and bitching, I thought, you know what, I better go live. I just got this in last night when I got home late and show this tripod mount, say thanks, and do a video. So, let's get this started. Let's flip this back around. I'm going to install the phone in there for the first ever time. Dun, 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 dun. All right. There we go. And, oh my god, that was so much easier. So much less drama in getting set up, right? And I can set these however I want them. Perfect. And somebody asked how the car ran. The car did wonderful. As a matter of fact, I couldn't have been happier with it. You know, I mean, it's an older car, but it has a few issues like any older car does. You know, I don't get to go out and buy brand new sports cars. I'm not that kind of guy. Wish I was, maybe one day, but not right now. But it did wonderful. You know, it's comfortable, ran good, ran fast. Not sure what all's been done to that car. I need to figure that out because it doesn't act like a stock car, which causes a traction control system to get pissed. But anyway, good time. And yes, Dub 45, we will be coming to Colorado this month for Repticon. We will not be coming as Olympus Reptiles. We'll actually be selling for tall grass reptiles. So we will be there. We will be selling. We'll be doing our thing. But we're going to be selling for them on a commission. So it won't be my animals. It'll be their animals. But I trust their animals, so I'm comfortable doing that. I reached out to them to do that, actually, because I'm so comfortable with that. But that actually kind of gets us into what I want to talk about today. And I thought it was a good topic. Where do you buy your snakes from? All over. Honestly, come from all over. And Marcus Montalvo, I'm pretty sure you just signed up for Patreon not too long ago, so you will be getting one. We're still in the process of getting that all completely caught up and making it a smoother operation on getting those shirts out. Some of the issues are, not that it's an excuse because it's still on us, is we ran into my wedding not long ago, and now we're running into Kurt's wedding, and that's about to be finished, and so then it should hopefully kind of free up some time to smooth some things up. They did put in a new way of monitoring all that, so we're trying to get that caught up, and hopefully we can use that and make it go really, really smooth here soon. South Africa, that's a long ways away. That is awesome, but you guys have a thriving reptile hobby there, so. You know, I haven't. I mean, I've been busy with my own shit, to be quite honest, and just traveling and just so busy that I don't always have time. I saw that on Facebook, and you know, I did reach out and give him my condolences on Facebook. I'm sure he's gonna be okay. It's a shitty thing. It's a sucky thing, you know, and I can relate. I mean, I've been there. I lost my father to a boating accident actually when I was a teenager. So, you know, it's ain't a fun day when that happens, but. It is what it is, you know. I mean, as you grow older, you're going to lose people, and it's never going to be easy. So, yeah, of course you can. The bad thing though, carping with Matt, and it's awesome. If you're in the UK, I'd love to have you join. but I want to be upfront on what the service can provide if you're in the UK, because if you're in the UK, it doesn't provide as much. It I can't ship to the UK right now, so you can get all the content, you can get into all that, but you're not going to be able to get the animals 'cause I don't have the ability to ship there as it's set. But come on over and join us. So yeah, and I know who the genetic hunters are. They've talked to me several times and back and forth. They've been on here. I've watched some of theirs, commented on some of their stuff. I haven't had much time to watch YouTube really lately, anybody's vlog, because when I'm traveling and it's kind of one of those family times, I'll try to make it that. I try to really focus on recharging my batteries and everything like that. So I don't always get a chance to watch everybody else's vlog and keep up with what's going on. I try to stay off that. And now I do put some things up on like Patreon still because we need to do that. But it is what it is. Yeah, it does suck. And you really don't, Jennifer, and he's not going to either, I don't think. I mean, you're going to hurt forever a little bit. It gets different, That's the best thing I can say. I'm talking mine, been damn near 20 years ago, right? Actually, it's been more than 20 years ago. And it doesn't, there's still things you miss. There's still things that you do and you're like, oh damn it, But it does get easier to deal with. That being said, it's just all you can really do is take your time, take your licks, and then keep moving forward with the lessons you learn and be joyful for the time that you did have. I mean, that's all you can do. I look at it in my situation, and I think I had about 14, 15 years total. I'd actually have to look at my leg tattoo to see the exact dates. And and I could sit there and be pissed all the time about that and be pissed and let it affect my daily action that I didn't get to have my father around for this and this and this and this and this. However, I did have a great stepfather in my life, so I did still have a fatherly influence. I had great aunts and uncles who, my dad's brothers really picked up the slack and been there in times when I needed them. And so all of that has been great, and I'm thankful for all of that. And then I'm also thankful for the time and the lessons I did have from my father, because so many people don't even get that. Some people never get to know their parents. Their parents die when they're can't even walk. And so rather than look at the woe was me aspect, I've always looked at the positive aspect of it. So that's just me. But enough of that sad shit, right? I'm feeling good. Back's doing good. Again, a little tough, sat in the car for 8 hours one day, but it's good. 6'2" sports cars cramped up. But we're here to talk about the ball python market and the reptile market in general. And there are some things that I haven't seen a clown that got emailed me, I don't think. I'll have to check my email. Just let it eat butt first. I'll eventually figure it out. I mean, it's not going to hurt it to swallow it ass first. Only there's a problem on bigger meals, and it'll, figure that out. So, and but this is a market video, so let's try to get this conversation reined in a little bit to questions and focus on the ball python market. First of all, I want to say that I am a believer, and cameraman's feeling good. He's, about to get married, so, I wish, dude, I'm trying. I'm going to have to lose a little bit of weight, actually, just because of the fact that, not that I'm really worried about, my weight. I don't really give a shit. I can pass everything I need to pass, and yada, yada, yada. My cholesterol's rocking. Everything's good. But for the flexibility and everything else to really kind of help with not having that disc bulge again, I want to do everything I can to avoid that, because that was bad. But I'm a believer that the ball python market is well. So, man, what do you need to do? That is a great question. Get to the clown thing. I haven't seen what he did to clown, but if you're going to go to a show for the first time, one, just go with an open mind. I know when we went to our first ones, we didn't know what to expect, and it was really kind of a nerve-wracking thing, and so you just got to go in and just do it, and then kind of price it fair, and be excited. And don't be afraid to tell people, here's the thing: a lot of people don't want to tell people they're new. They don't want to tell, hey man, this is our first show we've ever done, and this is our first clutch. And I'm going to tell you, do that. And the reason I'm going to say do that is because one of the biggest things that comes into the market, whether the market's good or whether the market sucks, is your skills, your personal skills at building relationships. You know what I mean? And what I'm getting at is when you make that connection with somebody, okay? When you make that connection, they're more likely to purchase from you. When they feel that you're a human being, that you've been in their shoes, that you've walked that mile, you know, that you understand where they're going, they're more likely to purchase from you, and they feel that connection, right? So when you go to that show, don't be afraid to tell them who you are, what you do, your struggles, your trials, and you get that chance to talk to them, because they're telling me, yeah, this is my first clutch, or this is my first show. You know, we started this 3 years ago, and now we're here, and it's great, and I'm really excited about it. You know, and they're going to be like, that can be me in 3 years. You know what I mean? So it's a really cool thing. And I see a lot of questions coming in about Morph Market, and I really don't have much to say on Morph Market. You know, Morph Market is this thing that I honestly haven't touched. And the reason I haven't touched it isn't because I don't think it's good. I think it is good. You know, Facebook used to be where it was at for purchasing and selling. There was a lot of Facebook auction sites and whatnot. And there may still be some. But, you know, Facebook really tried to like, crack down on animal sales because there are evil social media overlords. And so then you had Morph Market that kind of popped up. And Morph Market seems pretty great. But like anything, when you're dealing with online, you got to know who you're dealing with to make sure you're not getting scammed. That's important. And the one snake, I bought one snake off of Morph Market. One. And I've sold 0 on Morph Market. The reason for that simply is because we have our own style of marketing, and we just haven't had anything that get to that point we need to put them on Morph Market yet. So we haven't done that, and we'll get there. You know, I mean, everything usually goes on Patreon and shows, and I'd rather sell it to those two places before Morph Market if I can. You know, but that's just how we do things. Not that it's bad. Morph Market could be a great tool, and it's a great place to go because you have one place to go, and here's all these snakes, and it's like kind of like an online reptile show all the time. So I like, and our Scaleless head male came from Morph Market. Now, when I found an animal I wanted, you know, I emailed the person, and I researched their company, and I did all this, and I tried to talk to people about them, and then I talked to them individually, and I went through all these hoops before I made that purchase, and that was constriction addiction. And that was the first time I ever worked with constriction addiction. And let me tell you, I was really, really happy with it. You know, if you watch her unboxing, you hear how happy I was with them. The animal became bigger than advertised. Everything was great. So it can be a good experience, but just like anything, there's going to be bad experiences too, because Morph Market doesn't own the animals they're selling. They're simply providing a marketplace for everybody to be. So, but things like that are what keep the market healthy. You know, one of the biggest things is having the ability to sell animals. You know, if you don't have the place to sell them, it's going to be a crappy market, right? And the prices do fluctuate within the market. So, you know, and prices change. Like Red Stripe, I see Red Stripe mentioned. You know, and I'll talk about Red Stripe here really quick on what I mean about, you know, there's a single gene, what genes are worth more, what genes are worth less, and whatnot. And that is it is supply and demand. And with Red Stripe, there wasn't a whole lot of supply, but there wasn't any really demand. Nobody was out going, damn, I need to give me some Red Stripe. If you go back a ways, you know, and then JKR was working that Red Stripe, and he hit that magma, and he proved that Red Stripe could do some cool things, and it caught a lot of people's attention. So then all of a sudden, the demand went up, while the supply is still sitting down here, right? And then it kind of caused that to go up. So it is supply and demand. And I probably will see Brian Zoo one day. I don't know when. Fuck, I don't have a weekend that's free till next year. That is a true story. So, you know, but when it comes to predicting that genetic that's gonna boom explode, it's pretty hard. You know, I mean, I have some that I'm banking on that'll increase demand, and I think that demand is going to increase in blitz. Why? Because I'm doing cool shit with it, and I look at it and I'm like, whoa! And so there you go. And the only way you're really going to get one of ours, Courtney, is right now is to find us at a show, which we don't have anything to take to shows. We probably will here soon, or to jump on our Patreon. And people think that's kind of like, well, I shouldn't have to be there to buy. Maybe you shouldn't, but you do because they're buying all of our stuff. So that's the way it goes. But I think the market is alive and healthy. And what I mean is, I'm not looking now. If you're wanting that old school market, and when you hear people complain about it, I think a lot of them are the people who were there way back in the day, and they were selling those snakes for $20,000, you know, and the banana was $10,000, and shit, we couldn't make enough of them, right? That was never me. I missed that. I didn't get in the market during that phase. You know, when I got into it, you were just starting to see all those crashes, and that's when the sky was falling, because these new morphs would come, and they just tank really fast. But the simple fact is one, the number of people getting into reptiles is growing. Mark my words, it's growing. It isn't shrinking. So as long as that's happening, as long as more people are getting into it, the market's going to stay healthy. You know, two, is whenever I go to show, I sell stuff, right? Whenever I go online, I sell stuff. So like, as long as things are moving, that tells me the market is doing very, very well. So that there is a healthy market. And somebody asked why I don't keep reticulated pythons. There's a reason for that, actually. And then what is the best in the market? And I don't know, Jennifer, if I'm going to make Wichita. That'll really depend on, you know, what I got going on, if I can squeeze it in, and also if we have anything worth taking to the show. So, and when you talk about the reptile market in general, you know, you got retics, and there is a group of retics, right? And people breed retics, and retics are cool, man. Like, you know, you look at what Prehistoric Pets does with retics, and it's awesome. But the thing is, they're not really appropriate for the vast majority of reptile keepers, right? And my belief in that the market is going to grow is going to grow with new people. I believe bringing in new blood. That's where our market grows. If we just stay within the same ranks, we don't bring in new people, it's going to stagnate. So, what we really want to do is bring in new people. I don't want to bring in new people like, here's a retic. You know, I just don't think that's where I want to put a new person. I don't think they're going to have a good experience with that snake if that's their first snake. So they take up a lot of room. They're massive. They can be nippy when they're young, and they grow so fast. They'll overwhelm the new keeper. They'll just overwhelm them. So I really think that, you know, that there's certain animals that just make first good reptiles, you know. And yeah, morph breeding is already out to other reptiles, and like it actually started in other reptiles. Ball pythons are one of those animals that make great first animals, and it comes down to temperament and size. So when you have a new person, they're not going to get huge, they're not going to be really expensive to keep. You know, they have a great temperament for a pet snake, and that can really kind of make them get that one and go, oh man, I'm a little nervous about this. Oh, this is great. And then before long, what are they? They're not just a snake keeper, they're a hobbyist, right? So they come in and they end up doing more and more and more, and then they bring their friends in who bring in, and it's just like a disease that I want to spread across the world. So it's one of those things that, you know, I don't think you can do that with retics, and that's why my focus is on ball pythons. You know, you did it with leopard geckos back in the day, and still do. You can do it with bearded dragons, and still do. So it's one of those type of things, and why I stick with the ball pythons, and why I think they're desirable. And it's those same type of reasons why you'll hear people like, you know, Barchek talk about what's the next big thing, because, you know, those guys are looking forward to where, what have we done everything we can do here? You know, what's the next thing that's going to bring those people in and take off? And, you know, he's been a believer in blue-tongued skinks for a number of years, and I don't think he's wrong. You know, but what will keep blue-tongued skinks out of doing that for a while longer is their price point still too high. You got to get that price point down, which will come when more people have them to bring the new people in. It's hard getting a new person to come in, never been in the hobby before, decide, oh, maybe I want to get a pet reptile. Here's $500. That just doesn't happen too often. So that's kind of where I think the market is. The market is healthy, but the market is not going to sustain a bunch of people trying to breed $10,000 animals and looking at that quick money. It's not going to do it, guys. Those days, I think, are kind of gone. And what I mean is, let's say that, well, let me pick an animal here. It doesn't really matter which one I pick. Let's pick you. You gonna be in a good mood today? No, you're in shed. It does matter which one I pick. I can't pick one that's in shed. Let's pick. I don't know. We'll pick you. Are you? You're looking good. All right. Cool beans. Must be nice. Now, what this is a queen bee. We're going to talk about the market. So we're going to pretend that this isn't a queen bee, right? Let's say this is something called, I don't know, we'll call it Universe. Let's say it's a brand new gene called Universe, and this is how Universe looks, right? So this is Universe. It's not. It's queen bee. So we don't have any confusion. Let's say I'm the first person to import Universe, and I prove Universe out, and I'm breeding Universe. And I say, Universe is going to cost $20,000 to buy into Universe. Will that happen? Yes. Likely that'll happen. Maybe not at 20, maybe some negotiating going on, but will people get into Universe? They would. It's really cool looking, right? But you're only going to get that one generation. So then they're going to take Universe, right? And they're going to buy Universe, and they're going to go, and they're going to breed Universe. Then they produce Universe. And then here I am going, hey, I got Universe for $15,000, and I'm the first guy, right? I'm the guy who's known for Universe. People are going to come to me for Universe. So they can't sell their Universe the same price I can. So they do. They undercut me. And then I have to come down. And then by 3 generations later, you're getting Universe for, $3,000. And the price just takes a big drop. And that's what scares me. That's why it's not going to sustain on $10,000 animals. Now, is that a problem? No. It's not. That's what kind of happens. That's the normal thing now. Back in the day, there wasn't as many people doing it, so you could hold those prices. They wouldn't drop as fast, especially on a codom animal. But now it does. So that's kind of the point I'm making about those days of making quick money really fast are pretty well over. And you don't see a lot of really exciting, really different looking brand new morphs come in. And again, for those just joining us, I'm not saying this is a new morph. This is a queen bee. Just using it for an example. And pretty soon, like we see now, scaleless heads. And again, Wayne, thanks for the new tripod. That's why we're doing this today, because it came in, I wanted to use it. So when that new morph comes in, there's not as many brand new, really exciting visual morphs that come in where you're like, damn, I can't have that. So I don't have that. I have to get it. And you're like, oh, that looks similar to this, or I'm going to wait, or it's not anything, so you're not seeing those huge numbers anymore. But what you do see is everything sells, right? If everything sells, we have a healthy market. I, for one, would rather sell, 10 animals at $300, which would be, for doing the math, $3,000, than one animal at $2,000. This is what I'd rather do. And I think that also in the long term gives me a bigger customer base that it grows, so we make more money long term out. Somebody asked about boas, and I don't keep boas here because of the IBD. We do have a boa. It stays at camera guy Kurt's house, like in the ultimate quarantine 20 miles away. And it was a rescue, like a literal rescue. When I say a rescue, I don't mean it was at Petco and unhealthy, so I bought it. I mean, dude called and said, there's a fucking boa constrictor in my house, and it needs to go. And I got a call and said, a boa constrictor in Kansas, whatever. And I went there, and sure as shit, it's a boa constrictor. So, there you go. IBD is inclusion body disease, and it is a death sentence for your pythons. And it can be spread, and it can be kept by boas, and boas can show no ill effects of it, and then boom, once you got it, you can pretty much write off half your collection if you're lucky. So IBD is a nasty disease, and you definitely don't want it in your collection. I see the Raven gene. I haven't even really looked at Raven, and that's the thing. There's so many new things that come out, it just kind of waters it down, and very few things really build that super excitement where everybody knows about it. And in order for it to be that animal that's going to draw that big money, everybody has to know about it. And if somebody like me hadn't heard of Raven, then not everybody knows about it. And there's shit that I've looked at like, damn, that thing is awesome. And I'm not sure on the Kenyan sand boas, like whitewash, but you don't see much of it here, and haven't made the trip over here, and so those kind of things are bad. I think people get a little bit of a sour taste too because of the double naming. And what I mean by the double naming is, you make a morph, you name a morph, right? Wait, it's doing great. I mean, look, it's sturdy as a rock. We actually opened up by showing it. It's awesome. And the mount can hold it sideways and up instead of having to bend around. It's awesome. I really appreciate it. I really needed it. So it is going to be used a lot. And there are a ton of diamonds hidden out there. But when you have like banana coral glow, lesser butter, and it's the same shit named different, and then it burns somebody, and people kind of then start taking a little bit gun shy, like, well, I don't know if I want to jump that because it's the same thing. And when you do have something that is so vastly different, you know, so vastly different, and I'll get to trick here in a minute, that's what's going to excite the market. And even then, people will try to tear it down. And a great example is the Scaleless project. Now, the Scaleless project was the last thing that I really saw just light a fire under the ball python world. And it came out, and the Scaleless hash, and everyone went, holy shit, you know? And it was this big, 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 big thing. And then all of a sudden, I think because people then start to get, especially with who it was being Barcheck, you know, jealous of it, that, oh, there's this big thing going on. A lot of people try to like poke holes in it, you know, and I still hear holes being poked in it. And do I know if it's completely viable? I don't. We got a few years to really figure that out. Obviously, I jumped into it, but you know, that was the last big, 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 big thing, and you need something that crazy to really light this market up to draw those big numbers. Now, somebody mentioned trick, and I marvel something I haven't really seen too much of yet either or gotten into. Trick. Will it be a good investment? I don't know, man. I'll be honest. There is a whole host of genes out there, and you know, I'll get the hets too here in a second. There's a whole host of genes out there like that are the same. You know, butter lesser and things like that. Coral glow banana, like we mentioned, amongst some others. And then there's some that are very, very similar yet different. The best example will be being black pastel and cinnamon, and yet they're also allelic. Now, when you get to trick, trick looks a lot like blitz. And, oh, don't be doing that. Oh, stop it. Stop being angry. Of course, this being our blitz female. So, and it looks a lot like what I see trick look like, you know. So it's kind of one of those things. And it also looks a lot like what I'm seeing come out with Hurricane. Now, is it the same? I honestly don't know. You know, I honestly don't know. I don't know if Trick and Blitz are the same. I don't know if Blitz and Hurricane are the same. I don't know if they're going to be allelic. I don't know. And that's going to be kind of an issue. So, right. And see, and that's the thing. They're very similar. And if you keep them completely separate, I think, you know, they'll at least be a line bred different, you know, but we didn't do that very well with human beings with butters and lessers, and now they're literally the same thing. And so with that, if it comes back the same, and then people are going to be pissed because maybe somebody bought Trick when Blitz was cheaper or vice versa. I'm not sure which one's cheaper right now. You know, Hurricane when the other one was cheaper, or maybe one does more cool stuff and they picked the wrong one, yet they do similar. There's a lot of fighter stuff like that, you know. So that's going to be a big question. And so it's kind of a gamble. I mean, there is no right or wrong answer. You're going to have to, at some point, take a gamble and then decide if it was a good investment later. And we've done that. You know, we bought a Scaleless Head Lemon Blast. We paid in the 4 digits for it. We're going to be breeding it this season. Will it be a good investment? I don't know. I think so. If I didn't think it, I wouldn't have bought it, right? But what if something does happen to Scaleless Project? Then it was a bad investment. Am I going to be pissed that it didn't work out? No, I took a calculated risk on that. You know, and I decided to take it. So it's on me, and I'm cool with that, no matter what happens. And there are risks in any market. It's no different. So you're going to have to just probably take the risk. Now, the risk on Trick, it's not a big risk because it's not a really expensive morph right now. So yeah, I think, you know, you could do well on it. You're not going to really get hurt on it, but it's only, who knows, you know, whether that's going to prove to be great or not. Hets. Somebody asked about hets. Now, hets are they're a horse of another color. First, I think personally that recessives are You know, I've heard that too. I watched the video on that San Diego. I'm gonna get back to this, but since we were talking about scalpel, I want to cover that. I'm really interested to see what happens on that because I'm just not so sure. Like I can see the shedding, and like I figured from the word go, we're gonna probably have to really work the humidity a little bit to get it right for them. So that doesn't surprise me any. Now on the frequent sheds, I've heard that once. I saw. I bet we watched the same video, and it was kind of interesting. And then the micro cuts. Oh man, I was kind of not really thinking about it. And if that was really what was going on, and that was really the thing, wouldn't we see that in corns? And wouldn't we see that in rats and kings that are all scaleless and all the rest of the scaleless animals out there? Now we do see shed issues in some of those animals, like bearded dragons. There's not a scaleless bearded dragon, but there's like I think they call them silkies or leatherbacks or some shit. I'm not really good on my beardies that have a patch that's scaleless, and they do have some shed issues. You got to put a little lotion on them. So I think that's probably very, very common. But I just the micro cuts was really interesting to think about. But then I also think, why aren't we seeing that? Or maybe we do see that, and nobody really talks about it because Scaleless has been out and like goes so long. It's just accepted they should. So looks like more Google Eyes. It's like it's going to be and that's why it got me into Scaleless projects. Everybody's the sky is falling. They can't have. I heard people say when they have eggs, their belly's going to blow open. Because you can see that fissure there, and I just kind of chuckle because I'm like, that fissure's on every snake. It's just covered by scales, and the scales really aren't armor. They're not holding the body together. So there's all kinds of these rumors and theories out there. Yet the proof, we don't have proof yet per se, but the most likely thing that was kind of proving it to me that that's not going to happen, or most of those were kind of just random guesses, is that we had Scaleless and all these other snakes, and they literally do just fine. No problems at all. Now, with Scaleless, when we do hatch full Scaleless, that will be one snake that I am on the fence on. What I mean is, I'm on the fence that, we do live feedings here, and some like that, some don't, and I do it from a lot of reasons. One of the reasons is better feed response. To a T, I think we get better feed response. Another reason is that it's quicker. When you breed live rodents, it's much, much easier and much, much quicker to go through here and do this and make sure you're getting right. When we do have scaleless animals, those will be animals that I am leaning towards switching to frozen thawed or pre-killed and feeding scaleless pre-killed. And the reason why is because there's one thing that I think that they are going to suffer from, other than maybe some paper thin sheds that you got to really keep the humidity up. And I think it's probably more likely because they get a lot of sheds stuck and it causes them to shed again, or how they're being fed. If you feed them live, rats are going to kick and rats are going to do things when they get coiled up. They just are. But with snakes having scales, they're protected from a lot of that minor stuff. A bite will punch right through it, but most of the time a kick isn't or anything like that. They're not even really notice it. But when you take that layer of protection off, I think that kick could start ripping through that skin. So, with that, I think we'll probably end up doing frozen thawed to our scaleless snakes. So that's where I think I'll probably go. And a lot of people won't, Doug. I mean, that's fine. I don't. I think I can make some really beautiful combos with it. And I look at this kind of like a living art. I am not an artist. I can't draw. I can't paint, but I can do this, and I love it. So I'm looking at going that route because I think my true goal is being a really clean, beautiful black and white snake. One of the ways to do that is to strip that layer of scales off. So it's going to be pushed into that. One of the pairings I plan for my scaleless head is to be pastel axanthic, so you can really see where I'm going with. So I mean. But I do think you do have to take some more precautions with it. As long as you're willing to do that, I don't see any issue with it. And I think the feeding, that's one time where I probably will feed frozen thawed just because of that concern. So, yeah, high contrast looks better on scales. See, I don't know, man. I've seen some scaleless animals that were just phenomenal on the colors, on getting that clean colors. So it'll be interesting. Yeah, and that's the other thing. We had 30,000 subs today. Hopefully it stays, right? So Yeah, ask about. I mean, that's what you're going to ask Brian on the BHP Zoo, and I do want to get there one day. I just don't know when I'm going to get there. You know, I've talked to him; he's cool with it. We want to come up and do some filming, have some plans, do some things, but you know, his schedule's a disaster, and mine's getting that way. You know, not that it's different than his. His is all this is all he's got to do, but he does a shit ton of it, right? Mine, I do a little of this, but I have other jobs too, and it's kind of a mess. But one day I'm going to get to that zoo, and one day our construction will be finished. I think, hopefully, it does. They feel smooth. They're pretty cool. You know, I think it is growing, and I think we have to engage those kids. So, email's probably the best way, or through Patreon's great. But you know, it does look cool. I mean, it does. I really want to go there. Like Johnson's skin. That's funny. Brings a whole new meaning. Don't want to play with my balls, right? We appreciate you guys watching. So here's what I want to know: do you guys have anything you want to say about the market or where you see the market going? I saw younger kids, you know, in the future, and what we need to do to protect that market and continue that market's growth, because it's a market that we all own, right? And we have a responsibility, if we're going to be breeders or keepers, to keep it healthy and try to bring in new people. Oh, snake poop. Snake poop. It can be bad depending on what it is, and just get it rid. Scale Stormtrooper would be the shit, but I still don't know what's in the Stormtrooper. That's another gene, and I've seen a few things that have done that lately that look almost like if there's not some IMG we're going to find in ball pipe, which is an increasing melanin gene you see in boas, and that would be awesome to do. Aaron and Savannah Piper, we can do that, especially with the Johnson comment. I think we got to, right? No, it's not too late. It's not so late. Absolutely not too late. You know, you haven't missed the boat. That's the thing. If you guys are trying to get into breeding ball pythons, you haven't missed the boat. Jump on. There's plenty of room. And what I mean by that is you're thinking, well, you just said all those $10,000 snake days are gone. All that's gone. That's gone. However, if you're willing to be patient and you're willing to work your ass off and you're not looking for a get rich quick scheme, there's plenty of room on the boat. You know, if you're not willing to do those things, you know, if you want to just come in, make a bunch of money, and be famous, yeah, the boat left. You know, that boat left a long ass time ago. But if you're willing to put the time and effort into it, there's room for you. There is tons of room for you. So definitely, definitely bring a couple ladies. It's about ready to kick your wife. Don't kick your wife out of the bedroom. We just did a whole episode about inclusion. Keep your wife in there, right? Best starter morphs for newbies. Man, you know, I don't think temperament really has anything to do with the morph. I think it's more on how they're cared for. How much they're. I saw one hissing at me all the time. Well, when you got this many plus a day job, a lot of this becomes kind of assembly line. You know, I go through, I clean, I water, I feed. I don't pick up and play with them every day. You know, they get to be a snake, and some of them I play with more than others. And those tend to have a better temperament. So it is kind of the best way to do that. Just Olympus Reptiles at Gmail is great. So, you know, when it comes to the best starter morphs, I'd say that one thing I'd tell you is have a recessive you like, because recessive is such a protected thing. Like, you know, those markets hold because they take time. You can't just, you know, shit out a bunch of recessives overnight when you first get into it, unless you want to invest to do that. So have a recessive project you like, and then have a project you really like. So, yeah, I know. You guys know me, man. Siglorga, I am a huge spider person. And I was about to recommend spider as a great beginning morph, but I'm hesitant because I don't want to send somebody down the road to getting a spider for their first morphs and then dealing with blowback from people now. Pastel's a great first morph. Pinstripe's good. I always recommend for first morphs things that are really, you know, not subtle. Get things that are easy to see. So that when you do your first pairings, it's very easy to pick out your babies and kind of get a feel for that and know what you're getting into. Spider's great because it's very easy to see and it's very stunning, but you are going to have blowback from some of the market, some of the people right now, that the popular thing is to shit on spider. And I'm a spider advocate. I love spider. But if you're going to have spider, you do need to do your research and you do need to understand wobble. And don't just take it from me. You know, research from other people too. Banana's a great starter morph too because it is so visual. That's another good one to start. And I always forget about Banana as a good starter morph because when I first got in the game, Banana was a $10,000 snake, and now it's a $200 snake, so it's easy to get into. A Bumblebee Callie, anything you damn well want, honestly. Well, I shouldn't say that because what I mean is those genes are great genes. Pastel goes a lot, Spider goes a lot. I love Calico, but of course you got to avoid spiders, womas, HGWs, champagnes. Avoid all that because those those combos being lethal. But I am not gonna get an Amazon tree boa. They're cool, and I've looked at them and I've thought about it, but I've got my hands in so many pots right now that I kind of I'm at that point right now where I'm sitting back and I'm trying to finish what I got going on, especially with the new facility coming and getting the zoo done and all of these things before I start expanding into other things. So, right, I know horses kill way more people than anything else in the world. Not anything, like disease and shit, but animal-wise, horses are like really high up there on killing you. Like horses kill you. But we love horses, but let's outlaw ball pythons that have killed exactly 0 people in their history. That's because politicians are smart, right? Politicians, they know what's going on. Oh, God, I hate politicians. So, right? I know. Now, Super Cinnamon did kind of take a hit a while back on the kinking issues. Womas wobble too, and Womas are a lethal combo with spiders. So, and what I mean is, I think it was Intelligent Design Reptiles really did a Panda Pie project. And he did it very out in the open, and kudos to him for doing so, And Candy is really cool, but I think Candy and Toffee are going to end up being the same thing. So, Candy knows, Toffee knows will end up being interchangeable. So, anyway, it kinked it fucking kinked like a motherfucker. It just did, And Super Black Pastel, Super Cineas, they do that, or they can do that. Now, we're going to be trying a clutch, and I'll be open about it, what we're trying, too. That is going to be a Super Black Pastel clutch. We're going to try it. I've got some ideas that I want to try to limit, lower, or completely avoid the kinking issues. Doing things a little different. And if it doesn't work, and it may not work, then I won't do it again. It's pretty simple. If I'm going to try it and it fails, I'm not going to keep banging my head against that wall, And I get that. And I felt bad for him because a lot of people like, man, that dude's trying something. Let him try something, I'm going to try the same thing. So I support what he did all through it, but it's going to happen, That's one of the things we're going to try for the balls is a lower temp for longer. I have heard that can help, but I haven't really seen numbers on it other than just people theorizing. So we are also going to try putting them in their very, very own incubator. We're only doing one clutch like that. And I'm going to leave them alone. I'm just going to put them in there. I'm going to close the door and walk away. See you later, soldiers. I'll probably only check them every, 10 to 15 days briefly. And then, and my hope is this: the lower temperature giving a longer time of incubation to help development. That's the theory on doing the lower temperatures. The flip side of that coin is going to be, and I think, a lot of times when you run into genetic issues, people tend to say that it can be caused by temperature swings. Checking your incubator. When you have a bunch of clutches, which if you got 15, 20 clutches, they're all set to hatch different times. What do you end up doing? You end up in your incubator all the damn time, right? Because I got clutches to do this. You're checking them. Boom, boom, boom. You're checking them. Boom, boom, boom. And we don't have, I think I've hatched my first, what I would say, severely kinked baby this year. And it's surviving, it's eating, it's pooping, it's shedding, it's doing everything. And we ended up actually giving it away with the, that it has to be a pet only. It can never be bred because I don't know what caused the kink. And the other babies were kinked, and I don't want that to pass on a bad combo if it's got it, or a bad genetic if it's caught it. And it actually, the kink worked most of the way out after the snake was out for a while, but it is still noticeable, and it is still kind of humpbacked, and so it still shouldn't be bred. But it ended up looking pretty damn good, actually. I was like, damn, it came out all right. So they say it's temperature swings. So by sticking it, and I'm sure he will, Chris, and I'll pull him out here in a second. By sticking them in their own incubator, where I'm not having to check them as frequently, I should keep a much more solid temperature range without as many swings, right? So the hope is by doing that, then I won't have the kinking issues. But I still may. It may not be fixable, but we're going to try. Let me show you that one kink one I was talking about, and then I'm going to have to get out of here because it will be time for me to go to Patreon for a bit, and I have to go get my haircut and go to the bank and do some shit to get water turned on at the new facility. So, this is the kinked one. Woo! And what this is a little, what I'd say is most likely a low expression calader. And you can tell that by how the highlighting is and how it's got that weird pattern on the tail and it doesn't have a lot of white. As you can see, it's kind of fired up. We'll see if I can't get it to. There you can see the kink right there. See that hump in the back right here? Boom. That's really the kink. And then there's one right here in the tail. And that's it. But that is enough right there that I would say that this snake would not make good breed stock ever. Now I do think it's going to survive great. Get you a good view of those. 1 kink, 2 kink. And so it doesn't need to be cold. What I mean by cold is it's going to survive. If something's going to survive and live, a perfectly normal life, why the hell would I kill it? Right? Why would I do that? I'm not going to. So we end up giving away on Patreon, and that's where it's going to be. So what is it? That one is what they call a calader. It's a spider calico combo, and they came out awesome. And I also got one last snake, and I do really got to get out of here, guys. I did get what I really wanted out of that clutch, too, because there was something I wanted for me in there. So I'll show you that. And this one didn't come with any kinks, and this one isn't going to be sold. And what this is this is my elusive Calabi. We missed last year. I got one this year. Check that out. That thing is just awesome. So when you look at it, you can see it's going to have almost white clear up to the sides all the way through. Beautiful, beautiful snake. This was exactly what I was looking for. And so we only got one, but I'd like to say we got the right one because I really wanted high white and high expression in my Calabi. And of course, this is only going to get better with age. So it's completely cool that we got that. All right, little girl. And it also is a little girl. So that means that I get to keep it. Yay! Keeping little girls. All right. Thank you guys so much. And again, one last shout out to Wayne. Thank you for the new tripod. I'm going to hop off of here, switch over to Patreon for a bit, and I will catch you guys all later.